1122. You get
Right.
those? You get what I'm saying?
Oh
So I
yeah.
mean, if they got, you could walk into somebody's room and they're automatically going to take your cell phone. They're going to take your laptop. They're going to take your um, tablet. They're going to take all the electronic stuff. What is? Good God, 12. The electronic stuff sounds like I've been sipping on Fireball. Um, they're going to automatically take all that stuff. So, that's a given. So, how much of it is digital that they got from, his tower, the
Right.
victim's tower, the victim's laptop, the victim's phones?
Back before, all the digital evidence and everything, 113 pieces of evidence probably wouldn't be that much. You
No, it
know,
would.
if you
It really
take
wouldn't. It really
shot,
would.
what is it, Polaroids or whatever.
Nina, I've always wanted to ask you this because I know that you've done some research on this area as well. People always talk about the blood that was found on the sheath
Yes.
and what kept them from testing that. Do you believe that they didn't test that, or do you believe that that was inconclusive enough to not really name anybody but the
Well,
victim?
I mean, I think with the sheath being underneath Maddie, that between her and Kaylee, it's probably saturated. So it probably, I mean, with that much saturation, I would say if there was another DNA, ooh, I mean, I know that they can separate it out and everything, but I think it was, I mean, there's not supposed to be another DNA, is there? It's just the girls, right?
Right. But
So, I mean,
that's been a huge topic for a lot of people is the
but how do
blood
they know
that
it's the girls if they didn't test it?
well, I mean, it's spoken on a lot. So I'm just asking you, if that blood that was found on the sheath, was that could that have possibly been the victim's blood?
The only DNAs that I know of that has been mentioned court wise, documented wise, are the DNAs under Maddie's fingernails, the DNA on the stair railing, and the DNA on the glove. That's the only ones I know of that are court documented.
So why would the DNA or not the DNA, why would the blood on the railing be such a hot topic for people? What
Because
do you
it,
believe would make them believe that that's somebody else that could have potentially been the killer?
because a lot of people have it in their head that the single source, now keep that in mind, single source, the single source touch DNA, they sort of disregard it as transfer DNA or, junk science or whatever,
Right.
and what I'm not realizing is that everything's come so far now that those skin cells are as good as semen, they're as good as blood, they're as good as saliva. They are DNA.
Well, let me ask you this. If you were investigating this crime scene and you were swabbing and you were dusting for prints and you were trying to get, you know, you were putting amino black down and you were getting all this stuff, do you not believe that they didn't go the extra length to identify or to exclude anybody that they know that was in that house the night before, the night of, and the perpetrator? You don't believe that those three things could have been, you know, um, issues to eliminate? Like because
Yeah,
you try to eliminate things, right?
yeah. And I mean, the thing about it is, I think that, in my opinion, I think they already know whose blood that is on the railing. I think they already know where the whose blood it is on the glove. I think they already know that. If they didn't know that, there would be such a ruckus every day over it. it's sort of mentioned in passing. It's that word salad to get people talking.
Right. I
And
agree because I mean, there's so many people that were in and out of that home, that you can't get everybody's DNA. You can't get everybody's blood sample. You're going to get the closest people to the victims, right? So
and
you're
see,
going to
everybody,
get, go ahead.
everybody says, well, you're going to test blood over touch DNA. No, you're not. Touch DNA was under a dead girl. Okay. The railing was 2 floors away from her.
Yeah.
So I would go with the skin cells under the dead girl.
I mean, and it was single source DNA,
Right.
right? It wasn't mixed with either one of the girls' DNA.
And
It
see
was
the
it.
difference between touch DNA and transfer DNA, and I'm sure that I'm preaching to the choir and you already know this. But what people don't realize is that touch DNA is actual person touching item. Doesn't matter if that item is movable or transferable, whatever. Person touch item. Okay?
Right. Right.
Transferable is person touched Captain Crunch touched person. There's an in between there, like, that the in between person.
Right.
Captain Crunch is the in between.
Well, I mean, I've always believed that, that single source DNA is almost as good as smoking gun, whether you got the knife or not. But people seem to be so demonstrative about your belief on such things that they want to get argumentative with you, that you don't know what you're talking about or you have no experience in that avenue. I mean, regardless, I mean, it's common sense to an extent, right? Isn't that what
Right.
that CC Moore, she explained it multiple times.
And see, that's where, and I thought about doing a video about this was, all you hear about is, oh my gosh, that nasty IgG and how nefarious it was and how backhanded it was and how this and how that. And they never turned over their homework and they never did this, they never did that. They did the judge in camera. That didn't sound right. They, anyway, and the judge decided what for them to turn over. Okay. They turned everything over that the judge told them to turn over. They cannot turn over the SNP because, according to DOJ guidelines, once he is arrested and he is the defendant, that SNP gets taken out of the portal and it can't be seen again unless you upload another SNP.
Okay, you have a comment. It's from Anna Rodriguez. Thank you for joining us. Nina, it was a male blood DNA.
Exactly. So if they didn't test it, they wouldn't know it was male.
Because that's how they get the STR profile, right?
Right.
The STR profile is a male profile, correct?
No, the
That's what.
STR is how they break it down to put it into CODIS.
Okay.
And then the
I'm getting,
STR,
see, I get that confused. I thought that's how, there's
yeah,
another test. Yes. Okay.
yeah, I think just to check for male or female is mitochondrial.
Warren, as much as I've heard Nina talk about this, I do believe that he did have a Strava app.
Oh, he does. I mean, yeah, I've got the run that he did, the route and everything. He
That's a
has
good
one.
question, Firefly. She said, but would an old blood stain even have viable DNA?
Exactly, and I think that's the reason that because see, I had heard now y'all keep in mind I've only been doing this for a year,
Right.
but when I first started, I had heard that the glove was out in the weather and wasn't viable, and that the one on the railing wasn't viable. That all they could come up with was that it was male.
So the glove that you're talking about is that glove that we've seen in that photo between the two trash cans, right? That's the
Yes, the
glove
one
that
that
everybody talks about? Okay.
yes.
Okay. Just making sure. Yeah,
But see,
that glove was so far away from the crime scene. I mean, it
but
could
they would rather them test that than the skin cells underneath Maggie.
I
And I
mean,
even think I have the screenshot of Payne. He was on the stand and she point blank asked him, and he told her, we went with the one that was closest to the victims, which was the sheath in the bed with the victims.
Dolphin says it depends on the condition of the stand, but you could definitely get DNA.
I mean, that
Someone
could have
was
been
saying,
somebody that went out snowboarding on the trash can and busted their nose.
did he have a smartwatch that he wore to the crime? If so, what an idiot.
I do know that Kaylee has one, and I've tried every way possible to find out if Ellie has that or if it was found or anything. Because if she was wearing it, there's a whole thing of information in it.
Right, I remember you saying that. Firefly, I didn't even really know about the one in the backyard. I did know the one in the front yard in between the trash can. I think that's the
What
one McDonough was talking about, but I never knew about the one in the backyard.
you
Do
know
you
there was
know
one in
what that one in the backyard? Where was that one found? Is that outside the slider,
I
Nina?
didn't know the gloves.
I only knew about the one by the trash can.
Now,
I don't
yeah,
think
I mean,
Haley ever
Dolphin,
was, never really see it in her photos.
yeah,
Yeah, that was
I think all
terrible.
the pictures I have, I think I've only got 3 pictures of her wearing the smartwatch.
Yeah. I mean, what you can, I don't know if people have done this. They've watched the Grub Truck video a million times. You really can't see much because of that long sweatshirt that
I,
she's wearing, you know?
hey,
Hey,
Leslie, visit.
Leslie. I
Um,
thought both glove finds were by the trash can. That's what I thought too, but I didn't. I
I
knew
didn't
that
realize there
was,
were 2 of them.
one was by the trash can, but I didn't know about the one in the backyard. Wouldn't you know how fresh the blood from the night is? That night is. You
Oh,
probably
yeah.
you probably would. You could tell the breakdown of the blood coagulating and stuff like that. The
And
one
I
by
mean,
the trash can is not relevant to the crime. Yeah, that's the one that I was talking about. I didn't believe
you
that one was.
convinced me that if there was something to those DNAs, that Ann Taylor wouldn't be jumping up and down every day.
Let's see what Firefly said. The glove in the backyard was one of the sources of DNA. Okay.
Did not know that. I thought it was the one by the trash can. I stand corrected.
Okay. Leslie said
I
she never
feel
got
I
your
feel
email.
blood over me tonight.
Y'all just need to exchange telephone numbers. Leslie, send me your phone number and I will text it to Nina. How about that? Because y'all
Look,
can't get y'all's emails connected for nothing.
I can email anybody and everybody, but I cannot email that lady.
AT referenced one by the trash can and Chris found one by the trash can apparently on different days.
Oh,
Okay, see,
see,
I've been confused about that because I do know the one by the trash can. We've pulled it up, we've talked about it, but we never really talked about the one in the backyard with the DNA on it. So, Firefly, is that the one that had another DNA on the glove? Because I did remember reading that. I don't have your number, Leslie. Email me your phone number and I'll give it to Nina.
I
Or I can email you her number or whatever. You still
don't
have the
care.
same number? You still have the
My
same?
number is
Okay.
BR54. What was it? BR5. That went on Hee Haw.
Maybe AT was talking about the trash can by the back door.
But
Oh,
now you know I do have a picture where inside looking has something circled right there at that window, and we've tried to figure out what he had circled.
Here's a comment for you, Nina. Says,
Okay.
hey gal, didn't catch you were live.
Oh
Have
heck,
either of
somebody's on.
you ever seen the video by Rolo Mata when BK returns from Pennsylvania? I haven't. I haven't.
Hey, does that mean I got somebody over there on my channel?
Yeah, you have two of them. These two.
I need to go over there. I love
C,
y'all.
C tires. Okay, I emailed it. All right. I mean, don't hop off panel. You can just go. You can just go to your chat, Nina,
Yeah, that's where I'm going. I'm a coming. I'm a coming. I got 4 watching.
and keep those people in check. Don't you let them like start crap over here. For real.
Hey,
You
C.
don't. I don't know if
See
you
ya.
have any. I don't know if you have any mods over there or not, but you know,
Oh, no, I don't have a mod.
I thought Cuff You was a mod.
I don't have any mods.
Oh,
They tried to get me to mod them the other night when that troll was in there, and I was like, I got this.
Firefly said yes. Blood on the handrail and blood on the glove found in the backyard, not BK's blood. Okay.
I hit the like, woman. Thank you, C.
So that's the glove that people are making a big fuss over as far as whose blood was that on that glove. So she said, I will mod for Nina. There you go. You got your first mod.
I see. I like playing with the trolls.
So let's let's go into that a little bit because people do have an issue with that. They found that glove with DNA on it that wasn't Brian's with blood. Did the blood match the victim? That's what I want to know, though. Firefly,
Um,
did the blood match the victims in the home, or what kind of blood was it
on which item?
on the glove in the backyard? And
Oh
bullets
no,
and
it
bling
was.
and bullets and bling says I will mod for you too if you want.
Hey, Doodlebug.
See, now you're getting a lot of people in there now. You got
Look at
one,
you.
two,
I
three,
got 6.
four. Well, thank y'all for supporting both of us. It means a lot. But I mean, you know, that's a good question. Was it blood or DNA?
The one on the railing was blood. The one on the glove, they just said DNA.
Okay.
And I mean, to me,
So,
that could have been skin cells from inside the glove.
but if we're being fair, it could have been anybody's glove, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that it was probably a police officer's or something like that. I think it was. I think it was from the crime scene, but I don't think it attributed to the crime scene.
Cuffy says you made him pass 700, Nina.
No,
You're almost at 1,000. Look at you.
I never thought 700 people would care about anything I had to say.
The Strava running fitness app was on his cell, not a watch. Okay. There you go.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Warren. So that was on his cell phone. If that was on his cell, would that have been reporting the night he was out driving? Would you have? I mean, because like I got a Nike app, I got all these kind of apps on my phone, and they're always running, right? They're always gathering information as your phone is, because
Even if
it's
the lights off.
it's taking your steps, it's taking your breathing, it's taking all that. If I mean, because I wear a watch and I have it on my phone, but my phone gathers information even when I'm not wearing my watch.
Right. And I mean, that's like you heard me mention the Yik Yak. Yik Yak, it updates even if your phone's off.
If it wasn't blood, it could have been someone wiping their snotty, dripping nose. Very good point. Nina, I think one glove was LE, the other wasn't. Okay.
See, that's what I think.
Maybe just DNA on the glove. I'm not 100% sure about that. I thought it was blood. Need to check now. Well, that's fine. That's fine. My
Here's
nose
the thing
always
about
runs and
it, is
drips in the cold.
if they're only saying that it's just DNA on the glove, then what's the difference than DNA on the sheath?
Well, one's Brian's and one isn't.
Oh yeah, that's
One is Brian's and one is not. So they're trying to say that there was two people if there was actually a glove with DNA in it that wasn't Brian. So that had to be somebody else.
right.
But like you just mentioned, when they're running all this DNA and stuff, they do run the police officers. It might not be instant,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they
definitely.
cross-reference all the investigators on the scene.
Yeah, I mean they cross-reference the bottom of their shoes, the imprints, everything. I mean,
Bottom line that the scene was beyond contaminated.
the thing
I
about it is you got to consider that a lot of the things that the police officers and the investigators do is for exclusion more than it is inclusion.
Nobody has ever said that, cuff you. Don't be putting words in our mouth. Nobody's ever said we can't stand you. We enjoy you. Nobody has ever said that.
That girl's full of some knowledge.
Well, she said, "I love it here. I can be myself." Well, that's a great thing. No one
Absolutely
was found timely. The other was a week or two later and not relevant. Okay,
right.
she had a good sense of humor. It seems like,
Oh
but
yeah.
that's what I believe people don't understand is you're going to go to the crime scene. There is going to be some contamination, but it's never done intentional. I don't believe. I mean, I don't believe that people are intentionally trying to contaminate a crime scene, especially as hardcore as they've been about this, only wanting to do this once, and about
Oh
it
well,
being,
I think the contamination too. I mean, they did that big cleanup.
yeah. But at that point, don't you believe that all the evidence that they would have gathered was already out?
No, I'm talking about the girls and everybody did the cleanup.
Oh, there was no cleanup. If there was a cleanup, it was done by the killer.
If
And
there was cleanup,
that's
it
my
would
opinion. That's
be
my
serious.
opinion. I mean, could he have dropped some blood on the floor and cleaned it up, wiped it up, whatever? Yeah, I mean,
I,
I'll never believe that this man did not drop blood
I
or
started to say, you cannot see me killing 4 people and saying, "Uh oh, I dropped some blood. I got to clean it up."
obviously he didn't leave anything else to the imagination other than his freaking DNA and a
Okay.
latent shoe print.
And I mean, the thing about it is that all you hear is that is a transferable item. It's a movable item. Well, how many murderers go into a house with a weapon that's not movable and transferable?
Yeah, I agree with that, Firefly. I really do. I believe that we're going to hear a lot more of trace of him in that house, and people don't believe that. They say that no, it was a crime scene, that he didn't get a lot of him, all over the place, blah blah blah. Well, the fact that he sat down in the chair, you don't know what was on the back of him if it was left in the chair. The Strava app recorded BK running a mile in 6 minutes, so be interesting to know what else is known. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, 6 minutes.
the reason that I looked at it was because I was trying to see if it went by Stevens Hall.
You're fine, Bullets. You're fine, Citrus. Is that sea tires? I'm not wearing my
I
glasses.
call her
Citrus?
that is C Tyrus.
Sea tires. Okay. Locard's exchange principle in forensic science holds that the perpetrator of a crime will bring something to the crime scene and will leave with something from it.
Yep.
Exactly. I'm not sure he didn't
And
have
it's like I
ketchup
said,
on his body.
Ann Taylor said that we leave our DNA everywhere we go. Well, I'm going to tell you, I've been to all 48 states and I've never left my DNA underneath a dead girl.
6 minute mile isn't that unheard of. I wish I could run a 6 minute mile. Mine is more like 30 minutes, I think. But you're right. You're
Yes,
right.
she wants to know, do we want an explanation for the name?
Sure. One of the other channels said exactly what Nina said about the glove. They also said that the blood on the rail was not viable for testing. I think LE wants the right person as much as any more of us. You're right.
Dang, see, Tyrese walks 2 and 20.
I can walk
Hey, man,
2 and 20 miles. I'm in 20 minutes. Okay. I go
the
about I go about 3 miles in 28 minutes. So
I go 3 miles in 5, and that's in an ambulance.
well, I mean, but 6 miles, that's pretty good distance, you know.
No, no, he did 1 mile in 6 minutes, not 6 miles. Well, he
Oh,
jogged.
all right. One was just male DNA on the glove, not blood. Okay. It's just a brisk pace. Yeah.
So now tell me, are you gonna do the male DNA on the glove out by the road? Or are you gonna do the male DNA on the sheath underneath the victim?
I'm gonna do underneath the victim and out by the road. I mean,
And see, I don't know, is it true? No, it's not true. You cannot tell me, and I have my butt kicked because I've got the CODIS guidelines and everything that you have to put it through CODIS, and I've never read it, so I need to do that because they are saying that they could only pick one to put through CODIS,
hey Layla.
and it's hard to believe.
So they did run Brian through CODIS. Every person I've heard state that they didn't run him through CODIS. They
And
did
see,
run
they
him.
tried to get
They did
Othram
run
ran
him. They did run him through CODIS.
the Idaho State lab ran it through CODIS.
Yes, and there was no hits because obviously a DNA wasn't in the system.
Right.
So if you run the DNA on the glove and there's no hits, but that's the DNA of an officer, a trash man, anybody.
Well, like
I
I
mean,
said, they had to have run it somehow, or they wouldn't know it was male or female.
right.
You okay?
I mean, at a particular point, a lot of this stuff to the professionals is irrelevant. It doesn't mean anything. It's like, okay, well, we this wasn't Brian's glove because it didn't have his DNA on it. Okay, let's bag it up for evidence and let's leave it alone. They're not going to go over every little aspect of the crime scene to try to find more than one perpetrator. And one other thing that I've heard recently as well is when people say that they had a suspect before Brian, but then when Brian's name started matching more things, they just let go of the suspect. Did you ever hear that there was a suspect before
Uh,
Brian?
they did. They had a suspect, and they got a cigarette butt serotypus. That word. Yeah, that word. Serotypus. Yeah, and they were concentrating on him. But what it was one of the guys from the store that was following Kaylee that day, and that's who the original suspect was. And I'm
Right,
sorry,
because that was the quote unquote stalker, right? At
but if
Winco.
you got a guy that has no DNA at the crime scene, and you end up with a guy that has DNA at the crime scene, don't that sort of cancel out the other guy?
Hmm. I would think so. I would think so. But there was the guy that was, I wouldn't say he was stalking her, He was
No, they
interested.
were the
He was
girls.
interested. He was interested in her, and they were
Right.
watching Winko. And they got in touch with those guys, and they admitted that they were looking a little hardcore, and they waited for her outside of the Winco, and that was the end of that.
Oh, C-Tire says that she has a big question.
Okay.
I'll give you a big answer.
To me, it wasn't bleeding unless you are bleeding. Left blood, your blood there, whether it be the victim or something else. Yeah. The stalker.
Is that the question?
I don't know. The stalker. I don't know if that's the question or not. She said, always bug me. The stalker. To be honest, I really wish they would just ungag everything. Put it all out there.
The stalker let off the hook because trying to pick up women. Yeah, I mean, what it was they said that Kaylee was very hyper vigilant about watching people, around her. Said that she knew she was a pretty girl. There's nothing wrong with knowing you're a pretty girl, okay? That makes, if she knows it, then that makes her look out for herself, you know and
Right.
that she was hyper vigilant, and that she was all the time calling her mom and dad saying, I got somebody following me, and then they would turn off or something. So she went to the grocery store, and there was two guys that went out into the parking lot behind her. And that's where the whole stalking thing came up, was that was the only two people that they could find that had, like, so, for lack of better words, followed her, you know and but they didn't, like, follow her in a car or anything. They just walked out to the parking lot and was going to try to talk to her. And I mean, they admitted, yeah, we followed her around, we were interested, and we were trying to pick up a girl, or he was trying to pick up a girl and he had his wingman. I don't think they were trying to pick up a girl for a nefarious reason. I think they were just trying to pick up girls. That did
Well,
sound wrong, that they were out there trying to pick up a girl.
I mean, all this stuff that we've learned about this case, like I said, the little bits and pieces we've all learned, there's nothing wrong with being inquisitive, wanting to know what happened. Nothing wrong with that at all. It's when you
Well,
interject
wouldn't
your own
why would
scenarios.
we didn't want to know?
What?
Why would we be in true crime if we didn't want to know?
Of course. Like I'm
I mean,
saying, it's not, there's nothing wrong with it. The
I
point
can see it in my gauge. Hey, Nina, can
where
you come on the panel? I
you're
know you don't
cutting
know anything about true crime and you're not inquisitive, but can you come up on the panel?
you're cutting out a little bit. What'd you say?
Oh man,
You said I know you're something about true
I said
crime.
I can see you calling somebody up on your panel, saying, "Oh, I know you're not inquisitive or anything, but can you come on panel anyway?"
Right, right. I mean, what I'm saying is like putting your own spin on it where you start to add and dilute the information that's been given in document. That's when it becomes harmful. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? Like you start saying certain things to a degree that you absolutely know that this is factual, and you start diluting what has been stated in the document. That's when it becomes a little harmful,
Right.
you
Now,
know?
um, see, Tyrus, I don't. Can I pin hers, or you got it pinned? Never mind. You go.
She said, hot girls get followed randomly. Used to creep me in my hot days, but it sounds like it was more than once. It should have been looked into more. Who goes out to meet girls creeping in a parking lot? Elliot
Well,
Roger.
they did. I mean, like I said, they went and got his cigarette butt and everything without him knowing it. Ran his DNA. I mean, they did.
Elliot Roger. Elliot Roger will creep you all, or used to creep you all day long, and videotape you at that.
And
I
throw
was
coffee.
reading. I was reading last night that he was autistic or had was on the spectrum. I didn't know that.
Do what?
In Dr. B's book that I was reading last night, it stated that he was on the spectrum for
I
Asperger's.
have to disagree with Bricado on that. The reason why is because he was mad because there's that non-specific or whatever to where you get tested and it's something like non-specific on the spectrum or something, and he was upset because he couldn't even get that right.
I remember reading that in his manifesto, but I mean, I thought that was interesting that there was only three that he mentioned.
Right.
That was nice
And
of him to
I
be
know,
in the chat. That was nice of him to be in the chat last night.
yes, it was.
I mean, I had so many more questions I wanted to ask him, but it's hard to
I
ask somebody in the chat,
just sat down with questions.
Here's a comment. Hello, sweetheart Nina. I'm going to bed. We'll be listening. Love you. Heather.
Oh, thank you, Heather. Hey, get with me. We're doing another live this week.
You and Heather?
Yeah. You want to be part of it?
Sure. She can always
Okay.
join us over here too. Trying
We
to bump
do.
you up with comments.
Yeah, we do addiction on it.
Okay. Yeah, just let
She
me know in advance. Just let me know in advance.
she's got like 20 years of dual diagnosis addiction recovery.
Cool. Cool. That's awesome. I like speaking on addiction. That's a totally different topic and it's very interesting and kind of parallels what we talk about over here in true crime, believe it or not.
You know, that's actually, I mean, I'm sure addiction is a whole lot more prevalent in true crime than you'd think it is.
Of course, of course. I mean, look at how many people are under the influence while they're committing a crime.
Right.
And that's one area that's really bugged me about this case as well is it's never been mentioned and hopefully we find out in the trial whether he had any chemicals in him because they had to do a blood draw, right?
Right.
Well, it was a month later, so shit, it would have been out of his system by then.
And I
It's
mean, my
evident
God,
to me.
that big drug house and all the toxicity reports came back negative.
Well, I agree with you, Anna. I agree with you 100%. Better get some sleep 12 with Nina the Night Owl. Did Ted Bundy do drugs?
He can stay up late.
Hey, did Ted Bundy do drugs? I thought he was a drinker.
Can
Wasn't
you
Ted
imagine? Can you
Ted
imagine Ted Bundy on
was
meth?
Ted Bundy a drinker or did he do drugs?
I didn't know of him to do any kind of alcohol or drugs.
Well, he went over to that tavern. I thought he had his own chair and he used to sit there and drink a little bit,
Well,
looking
I mean,
for his prey.
probably to stalk girls.
You too, Heather. You too. Your rest in PA is effed up. Leslie said no, he did not. Do y'all ever want someone on panel to speak on how it affects loved
Yes,
ones? I would love to be that voice. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
and I want Leslie to talk about her friend.
We can't get Leslie up here for some reason.
Leslie.
She's camping right now.
Well, I don't mean tonight, but I would really like to hear about her friend that got killed by Bundy.
That tripped me out when she told me that day on in the chat.
Calmly, hey, by the way, my best friend got killed by Bundy.
Yeah, she did say it that calmly. It wasn't like all in caps or anything. She just like, hey guys, my best friend got killed by Bundy. What?
The arrest in PA is effed up. How is that?
It's like, hey guys, I knew Israel Keys. He was, my friend. What? That'd be a
Wait a minute.
hell of a coincidence, right?
Do y'all want someone on panel to speak on how it affects loved ones? Because I would love to. Yes, definitely. Now, is she talking addiction or true crime?
I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't matter, but
Yeah. Hey, Michelle, thank you for being here. Allie, thank you for being here. Allie's sneaky. She'll be in here watching. We won't even know it. But we appreciate you, Allie. But
is
all of this
that
stuff, all of this
Melissa
stuff that
or
we've been talking about, Nina, all this stuff that we've been talking about, it's very important in this case that it doesn't get so diluted that it becomes detrimental to a fair trial. You get what I'm saying? I do agree with the fair trial. I believe that they need to get it on and going. That doesn't make me a pro burger. It just means that you know what? I want this to not end in a technicality. Hey, Dar Square.
um? See, I understand your feelings on that, and I respect them. I really do. But put yourself in law enforcement in Pennsylvania. The only information they have is they are to arrest a suspect of a quadruple murder, and that's all they have to go on. They don't know, because I do know that people have said they could have arrested him while he was out jogging. They could have. But what if he had took off running and grabbed a kid up?
Or just ran in front of a car and ended himself. Then they would have not had any kind of information whatsoever.
Or
You
jerk
want to
somebody
get,
out of the car, stop in the car.
I mean, you want to get, you want to get some kind of understanding. Hey, Rock Chalk.
And see, the thing about it is, for them to bring in the, it's called, in Pennsylvania, it's called CERT. It's a special something, anyway. But they're the ones that train to serve the nighttime warrants and the high risk warrants and stuff like that. And so, in order to bring them in, they have extra steps and stuff they have to take to bring them in.
Southwest Firefly. I haven't been able to find anyone other than Brian and Skylar. Maybe I'm imagining that. Oh, the chat's starting to go fast now.
I got 13 people. I'm so excited.
12 Cage. Where's Rock Chalk and my Doodlebug? They're over there at Nina's, the CERT team. Wow, there's a lot going on in here. Yeah, Texas in. If he would have had a weapon as well. So that's interesting. That is very interesting. That if he would have had a weapon on him, you wouldn't have known until it's probably too late, right? I believe that they did what they needed to do. The CERT team um did did what they needed to do. Hey JB, good to see you.
And that's the thing about it, is they have to go through special steps and everything to get a nighttime warrant. They have to go through special steps to get a no
Hey
knock warrant.
Crystal,
They have to
long
do the same thing to activate CERT. They have to do the same thing to activate the air patrol that was in the air. So, I
Mhm.
mean, there were so many checks and balances that at any time, if somebody didn't agree with it, they could have stopped it.
Yeah. I mean, in Washington, like you said, he didn't have a firearm and he did in Pennsylvania. I just I mean, I can't defend or say one way or the other, honestly, with a fair conscience, because I don't know the circumstances of what they were told to infiltrate that residence. All I know is they busted out windows, put people in custody. I mean, he was he is the suspect of four quadruple homicides. Whether at that time they they were going with that narrative, I just don't know. I don't know.
Well, from the way I understand it, was they were, they had, in order for them to get all this, they had to do a week of their own surveillance and everything. And
Right,
the night
right,
going in, they watched him in the windows, and then they saw the light come on in the garage. And they were afraid that he was fixing to go downstairs and destroy evidence. And you got to consider the size of that house and the way it had the upstairs and the downstairs, and so many ways that you could exit, that they said that it was a tactical maneuver on the windows and stuff, because it puts people in a panic and they just sort of stand still.
right. I saw that too, Rock Chalk, that they just captured a Minnesota suspect in custody.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Libertarian, Republican, or whatever, but we don't need to be killing folks.
Thank you for that, PKC. And Southwest Firefly says, I'm very curious as to when that Glock was purchased. And PKC gifted 5 memberships.
Ah, thank you. Hey, C says, Nina, seems like you have a fair jury in here because we've got a mixed bag over here.
Best to do it with fewest people on the street out and about. This was said to be a fugitive, but they knew where he was. So if PA was played or ID overreacted need to be addressed. I agree with you. If there's any kind of, you know, if you're going to do a procedure, do it correctly. Don't violate anybody's rights in the process. I get that. I get that. Yeah, too much killing, man. There's just too much killing going on. Are there any? I know you're from the South, Nina, but is there any kind of protest going on where you're at?
No, not that I know of, not unless it's in Birmingham or somewhere, but I hadn't heard anything about it.
We don't have anything going on here. Not at
Well,
all.
I know San Antonio, I think they've called out the National Guard, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's even though I do believe more often than not that he is a guilty person, I do want him to have a fair trial. Just like I've said, I want everybody who is a citizen of the U.S. to not have their rights impeded on because of maltreatment of any sort whatsoever. But I believe also we've been hearing, well, he's not going to get a fair trial in Latah County. Let's move it. What did they do? They moved it to Ada County. And that continues to be the battle cry. At some extent, you have to say, let's get on with the show, right?
Right. I think they'll get a continuance. I don't think it'll be a long one, but I think it will be continued.
Judge Hippler said they went in because they thought he was getting rid of evidence. Okay.
Right.
Texas shut that shit down. Yes, they did. There's protests and riots here in Portland.
Oh, wow.
That's
Man,
why.
Portland, I'd love to go. As a matter of fact, I think I've been to Portland. I know I've been to Seattle. I think I've been to Portland. I'm pretty sure I have. No dollar sign. What?
I've never been to Portland. It looks pretty. Yeah, I think in Florida they said you loot, we shoot, right? Isn't that what they were saying?
Now, isn't Portland where they took over the streets and a couple of years ago and like got rid of the police and everything?
Yeah. Hey, Rock Chalk, why have you in here? I know that you've been covering that case for a long time. Did they ever convict those Kansas women of murdering that one lady and the lady that drove her? I never kept up with that. The Kansas mom case. I know that you were on the ground over there and you were reporting live and stuff like that. I didn't know if they've convicted them yet. It's a mainstay that no one wants to be in LA and we need to play by the rules. Too many get out on technical errors. That's true. Are you talking about me? I was gonna support you. No link. Need to fix it. Oh, there's a dollar sign down there somewhere. No, first trial will be June 2026. Are you gonna be there reporting? That would be awesome. That'd be awesome. I'd like to see that if because I know that you're you're right there and you had a lot of good boots on the ground, you know? Yeah, I remember them being arrested, but I never heard anything else. Oh, she's talking about you. Okay. Yeah, no problem. I remember you doing that. I remember you doing that. There's a terrible case. Those poor women. Yes, indeed. There's nothing for no reason now. What's going on? Yeah,
So
there's.
they still don't have any clue about Travis Decker?
She said she goes to every hearing. Do what?
They still don't have a clue about Travis Decker?
I haven't heard anything recently. Um,
Wow.
Leslie gave us $5, so you get 250 of it. Thank you, Leslie.
You, Leslie.
Michelle
I will
says,
tell,
"Dang, I
I will
live in
tell you
Kansas."
if he does not give me my 250.
Well, it's actually out of Oklahoma, right, Rock Chalk? But they lived in Kansas. She could tell you more if you go to her page and subscribe. Rock Chalk True Crime. Um, Michelle says she lives in Kansas. What case is this?
I think we're talking about everything now.
Yeah, we are just a little bit. I mean, it's fun. True
That's
crime is
okay.
true crime. She said she got a gun pulled in her face. But
Yes, yes.
you were strapped too, weren't you?
Well, of
I
course you
thought
know it.
yeah, Rock Chalk was strapped as well.
Oh, yeah, you can guarantee that.
It might be televised. I will keep this channel posted. Yes, the Panhandle of Oklahoma. Yeah, that was a terrible case. I remember when that first came out. I was like, man,
Man,
who would have
they
killed these people? So, in my opinion, Hitler needs to get going. Speculation and made up tales for the people who may be witnesses is simply not okay. I agree with you. Keep in mind, prosecutors said they were set years ago. Two missing moms from Kansas went to pick up kids from grandma. And here is Mountain Mamas has a YouTube. Nina, post a link or something. You
I
do this
did.
stuff 24/7. She has a Q code, right? In the top corner
Well,
of
I do on my Restream, but I'm not on Restream. But I put my PayPal and Venmo in the comments.
okay.
Thank you.
I can't imagine what those ladies went through. That is just terrible. That case was beyond terrible. I mean to be ambushed like that. I don't know a lot about that case. I know I covered it, but I didn't get into the in-depthness that Rock Chalk did. So if y'all want to go and watch her channel on that case, I know it's been a while, but she kept up with it. So y'all go over there and check it out. You know, just
Hey, Rock ain't scared. She's over there uh, doing the riots and everything. You know, CJ lost his channel permanently for doing
she
that.
says I helped the kid dad. He has court August 30th, 2025 to get his kids.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
So did he get out of prison? Buried in a freezer 10 feet underground. Jesus. That's just evil. That's just plain evil. And they did it because they didn't want that mom to have those kids, right?
Wow.
At least in Texas, your day will come. While I was growing up in Tulsa, we were still afraid of the Girl Scout camping murder. The girls still are. Where the law is written and followed. Yeah, we don't mess around here in Texas, Star Square. You're right about that. It's like you get a date, you're on the, you know, Good luck.
We had a delivery one day at Huntsville Prison, and it was on damn lockdown.
Oh, okay. My misunderstanding. He never was in prison. He was in a 90-day rehab. Okay. Well, I'm glad he got out. I'm glad he got out. Kansas moms, I remember it. So sad. Yeah, it was. Everybody was looking for them women. I mean, but you weren't hearing a lot. You mean you weren't hearing where they were searching? None of that.
Now, see, Rock is as dedicated to that case as we are to like Idaho 4. She covers Idaho 4, but that one is like her heart.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody has a certain case, like I'm sure I'll find mine just as, like you'll find yours. I mean, I'm pretty sure this isn't the last case that either one of us is going to feel, strongly about. I got into this one because of the drug addiction of his, and then I wanted to know more about, as we came to later call it, the ego depletion. You know what I mean?
Right, right. And the more I think about it, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, and that was one of the avenues that we were going down while I was reading the book and while I was reading Dr. Bricato's book last night when he was talking about mass murders, is all it takes is something bad to happen to flip that switch.
Right.
Whether it be job loss, whether it be, a violent breakup, something like that, and boy, you're off and running. You know what I mean? And we talked about that ego depletion for a long time, Nina.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
people have made fun of the diagram, the profiling that I did on Brian and all this other stuff. They've talked crap about it, but you know what? The facts are the facts. You can't deny that.
honey, I've been laughed at so much over this case. It's not even funny.
I guess
And
it's a learning curve, right? This case,
most of the time they're laughing at me saying that I don't know anything about the case. And I'm like, no, sure don't.
y'all know a lot about these freaking cases. Like, I don't know what this one is. Harmony Montgomery? What is that? Still hits me hard. Poor little thing.
What?
Harmony Montgomery? True, Alabama,
I'll have to
Carolinas
look that
too.
one
This
up.
Idaho issue is peculiar to me, knowing the basic principles of the judiciary. So both of you, he gets better, looks different, and whatever that matters. Yeah. I was stationed at Redstone, Arizona, Huntsville, Alabama in the 90s.
I have to say thank you to C. She just sent me $10.
Aw, New
Thank you.
Hampshire girl. Little Quentin Simon. Yeah, we all have a case. If we don't, eventually we will get one. But with ASD, he had specified coping skills to address tough situations. Taylor Parker from Oklahoma. Her boyfriend is my son's best friend. She cut an infant out of a mom. I remember that case. I did that case before. Yes. Was that girl that was claiming she was pregnant, and then she went to that pregnant lady's house, cut the baby out, was pulled over by the DPS, and she was trying to say that, she had the baby like not long ago and she had the umbilical cord in her pants and stuff like that. That is terrible.
Kelly from What's the Obsession last night did one on that Sarah Peeney girl,
Hmm.
the one in 2016 that went missing, and then come to find out it was a hoax, and then it wasn't a hoax, and then it was a hoax, and that bitch is crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Ex-boyfriend. I did that case too. Yeah, I saw that on like Law and Crime or something like that, and I had to go check it out. That was
So, Gage,
terrible what
how long
she
you
did to
been
that
doing?
woman. That's what she did to that woman. That is terrible. Sick. She was a compulsive liar. She was telling people she was a oil baron Harris and all this other stuff, and just gave my baby pants a drink. Now I'm back. So y'all know about Little Harmony, huh? I recall that one. I've never forgotten that one. Did they find Harmony's body? There was a girl not long ago about Texarkana that happened to. Yeah, she lied to that man, told him she was pregnant, and then she called in a bomb threat to the freaking pregnancy place, so she
Oh my
didn't
God.
have to go and get an ultrasound and all this other stuff. It was crazy. So they didn't find Harmony's remains. Oh, that's sad. Yeah, I do remember that case. I did cover it, and it's terrible. It's terrible. Yeah, she wouldn't be like she would say she was sick or something, and she wouldn't have to be with her husband. And like Rock Chalk said, she wore a fake belly and all that, and people didn't believe her because she was a compulsive liar. And she ended up cutting out a baby from a pregnant woman who was her friend. Yeah. Harmony's stepmother should have went to prison for life too. She covered up for the dad. I might have to do that Harmony case 'cause I don't know nothing about it. Do you, Nina?
No, I've never heard of it.
I was at every hearing with my daughter-in-law. She had a hysterectomy, but Wade would not listen. Yes, he was. I think that documentary that I was listening to said she was more into Wade than he was her. After a while, they kind of drifted apart. Ryan Larson missing longer than Summer Wells, left at 11 years old, now 14. Left school middle day, teachers watch him walk away and even handed him the umbrella, never seen again.
Wow. You're multitasking.
Oh, I've covered it. I just haven't, or not the Montgomery case. No, I haven't done that one. Um, it sounds
Okay,
bad.
baby. Do you know Baby Lisa?
No,
C says, Baby Lisa weirds me out.
no, I don't know that case.
I don't either.
She said her uncle was leaving her millions. She bought everyone cars, and the cars got repossessed. Yeah.
Oh,
She was a compulsive liar. I mean, but she was good at it. She convinced people to give cards and everything without even having to give any money down. I used to
let's
house sit
see.
for a lady whom her ex-husband got killed a few blocks from my house by the Golden State Killer. God, that changed my life forever. So I mean, you've been in close proximity, 6 degrees of separation from Golden State. Leslie's been 6 degrees of separation from Bundy. That is amazing. I mean, that these individuals were that close to you guys. I mean, that's wow. Her ex-husband ratted her out. No one would listen. She was a good liar. Yes, she was.
So C says, Nina, which cases grip you the most? Well, being that I dedicate my life to this one, I would say that the Decker one has really,
Oh,
I'm really into
wow.
the one.
Michelle says BTK here. See, y'all have been around some vicious people.
And let's see, she says that she doesn't think the parents did it. Oh, baby Lisa was her first case.
You know, I got involved with the Casey Anthony case, and I believed wholeheartedly, hook, line, and sinker, that woman was guilty. And when they read not guilty, I was shocked.
Now, as far as before me doing true crime on YouTube, very first true crime book I read was Helter Skelter.
Wow.
When I graduated high school, y'all ain't gonna believe this, I wanted to be a prison psychiatrist.
Really?
That's what I dreamed of being, was a prison psychiatrist. And I always wanted to sit across the table from Manson. And I always, if he wasn't dead, I would have loved to have interviewed Hitler.
See, I wanted to be a forensic profiler, but the school was in Alabama at the time, and I didn't have the funds to go to out of state tuition and stuff. And I just about fell over with Casey. Yeah, how many of y'all thought Casey Anthony was guilty? Let's be honest. Type guilty if you thought Casey Anthony was guilty.
But
She's
the case that grabbed me the most back then was Joe McGinnis wrote a book about McDonald that killed his wife and kids.
man.
He
Look
was,
at all these guilty. She is guilty, 100%.
well, y'all know y'all can go support her YouTube channel.
Yeah, so much evil in the world. You're so right. I went to school there in Rec Krebs and Christian Smart, Towns at Cal Poly. Then did it. Wow, that's awesome. Thank you for your service. Guilty all the way. They tried to overcharge her. That's why she walked. Look at all
C
these
said,
guilty.
no.
Look at all
Does
these
that make
guilty.
Casey Anthony wasn't guilty?
Oh, Casey was guilty. She tried to blame her father, right?
Oh yeah,
She tried to
but
blame. She tried to
now
blame her dad, right?
another one where you have to give that attorney credit. He brought up reasonable doubt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily about the evidence; it's about the presentation.
Right.
And I mean, if you listen to Anne in these hearings, I mean, I know it's not the trial, but she doesn't come strong with it.
No,
Massoff's a little stronger than she is.
she is the word salad queen.
Yeah,
Hey, Bullets. And I mean, you have to give her credit too,
I could have swore Casey was was guilty.
but you have to give Ann Taylor credit too, because she has a knack for getting around the gag order and getting things said that in a way that doesn't go against the gag order.
Yeah. I mean, like I tried to tell people at the very beginning when she would sit there and say, "Well, my client is innocent." At that point, she didn't have all the discovery, so she could have said anything she wanted because
Well, is
there's
she supposed to get
nothing
up there
to
and say
back up.
guilty?
Huh?
Is she supposed to get up there and say my client is guilty?
Yeah, that's true, Rock Chalk. She was guilty, but did not meet requirements. That's true. Sometimes she just goes against the gag order. Yeah, when she gets up there and starts just spouting all kinds of stuff, it's just wild.
Well, I mean,
Sometimes,
the statement that she made about when the FBI, when they got the IGG, the S&P, it was doubled in size. Do you know what that did to the true crime community when that came out of her mouth?
of course I do. I heard
I
it.
mean, yeah, I mean, but that people went crazy.
Yeah. See, they contaminated, they added to it.
Yeah. And they didn't have enough of his, so they went and got some of his dad's. That's what somebody said.
I know.
But wouldn't that have made it a multiple perpetrator?
Oh, of course. It would have been a two strand DNA, right? I mean, it would have been double strand
It would have
DNA.
been a murder team.
Well, also when the dad drove cross country and they said, well, there was no DNA and there was no blood linking him to the crime.
Where did
People
Dad
were
sit?
people were crazy on that. People were crazy. See, I told you he was innocent. Well, that has nothing to do with innocence or guilt. That means he cleaned the damn car.
Gage one night was like, "That one got me, Nina."
It did. It did. I mean,
Tell me where Dad sat for 2,500 miles.
we saw dad in two body cams, right?
We
Dad
saw
had
two.
his with dad having his arm on the door frame.
We saw two police officers bent over the car window. Where's their DNA?
Right. It blew
Where's
off.
Culver's DNA?
Yeah.
No, all they found was green leafy stuff.
Dad wasn't at the crime scene. Right. Thank God. Thank God.
No,
Jesus,
no,
that's all. That's the only person they haven't implicated for real.
and see, the thing about it is really, if you think about it, if it's true that they didn't have enough of his, so they went and got some of Dad's, that could have implicated him as being a murderer.
Yeah. So Rockjaw said she's 95% sure with OJ's son who did Simpson's case. Let's not start the rumor about dad. I can't stand another person to be dragged through the mud, you know.
Oh, wow.
God. Well, dad was at the crime scene. Well, him and Steve G were at the crime scene. Dad
They
was
flew
there
in on a
earlier.
helicopter.
Hey, dad was there earlier that night. Crime G or Steve G showed up that morning or at noon. God, we
Yeah,
sure did have a hell of a lot of people at that crime scene, didn't we? Everybody but Brian.
they beat up his folks because of the bankruptcy. The kind, the kind of DNA have come from the mother. The mitochondrial. Wait a minute, that may be about. Cuffew says, "What about Summer Wells?" Man, that's a heartbreaker.
Yeah. Well, Kaylee's not dead, remember? She's in witness protection.
Oh yeah, she's in
She's
Hawaii.
she's married.
Wait a minute, somebody said doesn't make. The only reason he's not a serial killer is because he got caught before he grew up.
You know, that's an interesting thought right there. Do you believe that he could potentially become a serial killer?
One
If
hundred
he is
percent.
if he is indeed guilty. If he is
One
indeed
hundred.
guilty.
He
You-
got chopped off at the knees before he could grow up.
Well, look, if they wouldn't have caught him, right? And he wouldn't have got let go, and none of that would have happened, right? And he comes
Uh huh.
back after Christmas break. Do you think we would have seen another killing not long after?
I don't think he would have come back to Washington. I think he would have stayed in Pennsylvania and made up some kind of story of not going back or whatever. And I think that we would have had a killing on the East Coast.
Interesting. I mean, I'm glad they caught him. We don't want any other innocent people affected by anybody who could potentially harm someone. And
Oh, I know.
like I always say, it's in the jury's hands right now. It's not in 12 gauge hands, not in Nina's hands. It's not in anybody's hands but the jury when they finally pick those 20 people.
Oh, okay. C is talking about that his dad's DNA doesn't work with the trace DNA and that it comes from the mom. And all they did when they did the buccal swab, all they did was a paternity test.
True. They swabbed him quick, though. You know what I mean? That swab matched the DNA on the knife sheath. So all that other BS is obsolete.
And you know, Cece Moore said it the best in one of her interviews. She said, nothing myself or any other genealogical person did put him where he's at. The White Elantra didn't put him there. The IgG didn't put him there. That buccal swab put him there.
So people get fixated on all that stuff outside the house, but the most important element that places them in the house, science has proven that that's him. Science
Right.
proved it. Not the police, not any of us. Science proved it.
And I mean, you know, as far as the IgG, you know, yes, they went into the whole GEDmatch system instead of just the half, but that's a term of service. It's not against the law. I'm not excusing it. It does not look good, but that is the only thing that was done wrong as far as the IgG.
Yeah, he was given a buccal swab like as soon as they arrested him. It's basically what looks like a Q-tip. They swabbed the inside of your mouth and it was flown back to Idaho and ran for DNA, and that was the DNA that
Yes,
matched the knife
his
sheath DNA.
dad.
I've seen conflicting reports. I've seen that they found a male DNA in the trash and a female DNA, which would have been his sister's. But I don't know about that male DNA that they found in the trash. I've seen where they ran that one and they ran the buccal swab, and those were both Brian's, and those went
They
back
even
to the sheath.
Yeah, you know, they watched him put his trash in the neighbor's trash, and they even collected the neighbor's trash.
She said, "Oh, it's the southern accent." She thought you said vehicle swab.
Vehicle. Buccal. Is it buckle or buccal?
Buccal.
Buccal. Buccal.
She
Sorry, I
said.
did
She
16
said
years. I got
vehicle. That vehicle swab.
yeah, vehicle swab. That did it.
Been saying that forever. The DNA puts him in the house. Well, I mean, that's all you need is to show that the person had a propensity to be in that home.
Well, she says, wait a minute, you're jumping 3 steps.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen people convicted of less, with less evidence than this, with less.
Well, and I'm not in any kind of way trying to change anybody's mind because I love everybody's different opinion. I don't want to just talk to a bunch of people that agree with me because that would be boring.
Right, exactly. I'm enjoying the conversation tonight. Everybody's acting like an adult. Ain't nobody
Oh,
calling names, nothing.
by the way, since we have 2 chats going, do y'all know that we have a college graduate in our presence? Yay!
I thought the trash sample said it was the father who committed this crime. You're being
No,
facetious. Thank you for that, Nina.
you're welcome. I'm very proud of you.
Not weird that he put trash in neighbors. My neighbors and I did it all the time. Thank you
Yeah,
so
but
much, y'all.
they are like a mile wide.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Step up, Brad.
On to the masters and then my PhD, right?
Oh God, then he will be a know-it-all.
I never say I know it all much.
Bill,
I've said I don't know more tonight than
will you
I
be painted
ever
with
said
Dr.
it.
Gade? Will you be Dr. Gade?
Dr. Gade, that's what it'll be.
Dr. Gage, I have a question.
Dr. G, right?
Dr. G,
Dr. Gage.
your Bravada can be DB and DG.
Man, that tripped me out last night. I was like, how many? I saw his comment. And he said, "How many of you have bought the book?" And I thought, who's this person? I've never seen those initials ever. You
Did you
know?
not see the keys?
No, I didn't see the one before it. I I just saw that one.
See, I love his piano shorts. I comment
Yeah,
on every.
yeah. My
I'm
parents took me out earlier for dinner, and they also gave me some monetary compensation for it. So it is hard work. It's not it's not easy at all, and it took me a long time. I mean, I'm not 20 years old, and it's stressful. It's stressful as hell, you know?
shoot. I went to nursing school. Let me tell you, they were doing catheters, and I wanted a smoke break. I didn't care nothing about it.
Right, right. I mean, it's just the stress of understanding everything and putting everything together. And I think true crime kind of helped me with a lot of it because not only was I learning it during the week, I was also talking about it in this
Right.
case. And that's one of the reasons why I chose this case as well, is to talk all through it. And it's interesting that I'm finishing up right when we're going to trial.
To wait.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
encourage.
I
Whoa, what was that?
Oh
What
my
was that,
gosh.
Nina?
C says she's going to be paying her debt till she dies.
Well, me too, probably. So, what? Bullets. What are you
What?
doing? What are you
What
doing?
happened?
Look at the super chat
Where? Where?
down at the bottom.
Oh, no way.
What?
Oh my gosh.
You've accomplished very inspiring. You should be super proud. I really am. I mean, I'm really not going to be all that. Um, it's really not going to hit me until it gets here in the mail. You know what I mean? Bullet, thank you so much. Thank you so much and generous.
That is so sweet. I love that woman.
Yeah, on to the next endeavor.
What is
Le- I'm gonna go see Leslie. I'm gonna go hang out at Leslie's house and shoot my gun.
Is Leslie still grounded?
No, Leslie's been really good tonight. She's been really good.
C wants to know what your plan is now.
Well, my plan, I'm gonna be a juvenile probation officer, and then I'm gonna move on probably to, like I said, I'm gonna get my master's, and then continue on wherever the road leads me, wherever the road leads me. Thank you so much, David. Good to see you. Thank you for your comments that you leave in the shorts and the lives. Thank you so much for that. Leslie is being good. Did you give her the list?
Yeah, and she was over there in one of them the other night.
You have to ground Leslie sometimes. You know what I
Well,
mean?
the list is lost in the email.
You got to ground Leslie. You have to physically check on her every 15 minutes. Make sure she doesn't
Well,
sneak
once
off.
I get her phone number, I will.
You'll be like, Leslie, are you with that boy? I bet she drove
We'll
her
have to put
mama
a virtual
crazy.
leash on her.
I bet she was when she was younger. Her mama, it probably drove her mama crazy. Leslie, don't you be hanging around that boy. Next thing you knew,
It'll be like Marco. Be
she
like
was
Marco.
on Tattletale Nina. So you saw her in a chat. You told her not to be in.
I sure did. Super chatting away.
I worked my way through my BS and then my masters while chasing the same dream. You got all you're reaching for. Well, thank
Oh,
you for
Gabe,
yeah.
Bullets and her husband are going to be on Those Left Behind.
What? That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome.
We're gonna do instead of doing like the victims' families or something and how it affects them, we're gonna do one about how it affects first responders.
Okay, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Make sure you do a big deal. That way people know.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, we're always advocates for the families and the friends and people of victims, but the first responders, they sort of get forgotten about.
Yeah, exactly. Leslie says, "Oh, I was always in trouble being the only child. Never got to blame it on anyone else." I see that, Leslie. I see that.
Start a nonprofit, take a salary, and work for the quagmire.
We
I, I,
have
I
talked
actually
about
have
a
one
lot tonight. We have talked about a lot tonight.
I know this has been fun.
Yeah,
I'm at 2,300 watch hours. I still have 700 watch hours to go.
you'll get it. You'll get it. Comes quick. I don't even know what my watch hours are. I think I got an email the other day. It says I got 250,000 views on my stuff.
Holy crap!
Yeah,
I got a
250,000
thing from
views.
I got a thing from them saying that I had reached 50,000.
That's awesome.
And
And
I was
I've only been doing this like a year and 5 or 6.
my channel was only like 8 months old,
Yeah,
but 50,000 views with 700 subs. I was happy with that.
of course, of course. But you know what? It isn't about the people that are in the chat. It's about the people that are viewing your stuff. Not everybody chats. Not everybody catches your stuff at the same time when you're live. So when
Now,
people
see,
say,
that
"Well,
is
you
one.
don't," you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, that's one thing I had to get used to because on TikTok, once my live was over, it was gone.
yeah.
And
I mean,
here you got,
I have a video that continues to get views, and that video's been up almost a year, and it continued to get views and people commenting on it, and I'm like, wow, they're commenting on this video. It's been up for a long time.
do
So
you know uh, the what if video talking about the 1126 camera, the little short? It's my biggest one. It's got like 6,000 views.
that's awesome.
And next
I
in
do
line is
see I do see tires, and I also got I just launched a Spotify true crime podcast over there, where if you missed a podcast or if you missed a live over here, you can go over there and just listen to it. You don't have to watch us. You can just listen to it while you're doing laundry, doing gardening, whatever, or go back and listen to older ones that you may have not caught all the way through. Because sometimes it's better to listen to something and you pay more attention than if you're watching it, you know?
okay. I went over to TikTok and tried to post mine like you told me to,
Yeah.
and it said I had to apply for it.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, I was answering bullets. Can you answer this question? David said, "What do you think about the DD driver being able to identify BK?" And I'm answering bullets.
You
Oh,
would give me the DoorDash driver.
well, I already answered that one. You were not on panel.
Yeah, I've got a problem with it, so I don't believe it.
Okay. I don't necessarily believe that how can I say this? It hasn't been vetted enough for me to really have a definitive opinion on it. I
Here's the
mean,
problem I have with it is they have worked so hard to keep the DoorDash driver's identity so secret. And I talked to, I mean, there to me there would have been some kind of something put in place to where if she got pulled over or anything like that, something would come up. You can't tell me Pullman Washington doesn't know about the case. You know what I'm saying?
right.
But it seems like to me that as soon as she said, I'm the DoorDash driver, they should have shut that camera down right then because they know FOIA requests are everywhere.
That is a good point. That is a good point.
I mean, to me, as soon as she said, I'm the DoorDash driver, they should have said, Irk!
But when I put the closed caption, it said the college girl murder. It didn't say girls because I was
Right.
having trouble understanding it, and it said college girl murder. And then she mumbled something, and it did sound like she said, I saw Brian. But that could be so many other different things. You know what I mean? Like, it's not conclusive to me because she didn't put the last name on it, you know?
Well, C says, riddle me this. Why is everything secret and looks, and I got a heart, and locked up, I think.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. Yeah, just another person being thrown under the bus. You're right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Unlock everything, ungag it. Let's move on with it. We're all adults. Let's give us what we need to know and let's move on with the trial.
She says she thinks my forte is my research, so maybe let others market you. I said, you're hired.
Well, you got to go mod up some people. You know how to do that?
I don't
You
have
go,
a clue.
or you go into your YouTube when you're rewatching this live and you can see the chat on the side. There's three little
Yeah,
buttons. Then you click on those three buttons. There's going to be a pull down menu. It says add as moderator. You click on that, and that person don't get a wrench.
I think I'm just going to give everybody a wrench.
You get a wrench. You get a wrench. You get a wrench.
If you subscribe, you get a wrench.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Nina, I'm gonna have to call it because it's already 11:15, and I got work in the morning, and I'm on
Ooh,
call. So
chill.
you just never know if I'm gonna get a full night's sleep or not. Hopefully, yes. But you guys, it's
Well,
been wonderful. Thank you so much for supporting Nina and myself. Bullet, thank you so much for the super chat. Leslie, thank you so much. And everybody else who's came in to Nina's chat to show support. Don't feel scared to sub up because we both have the same type mentality and the same with my subs. Go over there and sub up to Nina and let's get her to 1,000. Not that I'll have anything to do with that. It's all hers, you know, but we do make a pretty good team, right?
yes, we do. Yes, we do. And thank y'all so much. And Gage, I may do a late night tonight. So come on in if you're awake. But if you're
All
with
right.
your girl, some time with your girl.
Well, my girl get the time after this. If I don't, I don't want to sleep on the couch because I'm watching a lot. You know what I mean?
You graduated. Now it's girl time.
But thank y'all again, everybody, for the congratulations. It means a lot. I will definitely show you degree, the degree once I get it, so people don't have conspiracies that I lied about it. You know what I mean?
Oh, please. You don't have to prove a dang thing.
Well, you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you so much. And I'm gonna cue the maestro right now.
Thank y'all.
Leslie still wants to know my girl's name. Maybe when we're married, Leslie.
Yeah, Leslie's waiting on my phone number.
Yeah, I'll pass that along, Nina. Y'all have a wonderful night, y'all.
Thank you. Thank you.